I know we have been networking and we've been here, some of us have been here for a while, but we're going to do quick introductions. There's few of us here, and so it will be great to get to know one another before he comes. But before I do that, permit me to also introduce Dr. Chioma, some of our guests that are also here. We have Dr. Chioma Nwachukwu. Please a round of applause for her, who is the Director of External Affairs and Sustainability for Seplat Energy. And while the other guests are on their way, and the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Petroleum Resources is on his way, okay, it does seem as though he's coming in right now. Okay. Okay. Other guests that we have that are also on their way, we have Engineer Mrs. Betty Ugonna, we have Dr. Cynthia Eguridu, who is the GM and CEO of the Free Zone Global Investment Limited, and she's also a member of the advisory board. We also have Barrister Mrs. Oyambo Owe, who is a member of the board of NCDMB, the Nigerian Content Management Development Board. And allow me to introduce the gentleman who just walked in with Barrister Oyambo, Mr. Adokie, who is the CEO of the Nigerian National Petroleum, CEO upstream of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Please a round of applause for him. And my mentor, also, I have many mentors, who is also very good at this job, better than I am. I'm not going to be mentioning names here now, so that I don't feel bad here, but we're all welcome. So while we wait for the Permanent Secretary to come, for those that I haven't been able to introduce here, I would like you to stand up for a bit. DJ, are you ready? Can we have some music? So please stand up, walk up to three people. Ask them 3 things about themselves. One of it must be something that they have not said to anybody before. DJ, one thing that they have not told anybody at all before.
and welcome everyone. I'd like to first and foremost start by apologizing for our starting really late. It's not our style. We had a Nigerian event in March and we started on time, but due to some technical issues, this is starting a bit late. So we'd like to apologize. And secondly, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone that has taken time out to be part of this event. I know the OTC session started around 7:30 a.m. this morning. And for those that probably joined the first session and you're here again, you haven't even gone back to your hotel to change. Thank you very much. We take it not for granted. We'd like to say thank you. We wouldn't want to take too much of your time, but there are multiple celebrations for us at Women in Energy, Oil and Gas. And I'll just breeze through our history. Well, people keep asking, why are you doing this in Houston? Why are you doing this in America? Why are you not doing it in Nigeria? Well, so this is what we call the international edition. And I'm just going to give you like the landmark story of how it all started. So I started attending OTC around 2013 after I've been in the industry for about 18 years, about 15 years. And then there's a session that OTC normally organizes called the WISE session, Women in Industry Sharing Experience, WISE. You know, so most times when I attend that session, sometimes I'm the only black person in the room. That's just the truth. And sometimes, you know, very few people, very few women. And I was just wondering, how come we have very few women in the industry, even OTC? So I can understand Nigeria. By virtue of the roles I've held in the industry, I've found myself being the only woman in the room multiple times. So I've gotten so used to it. Sometimes I'm even like a tomboy, you know. So I climb tanks. I do DP. There's nothing I can do. I wear, in fact, in my car, you see the helmets and you see the reflective jackets. Even after I'd moved on to doing some other commercial and feminine things, I've gotten just so used to it, you know. So I was quite shocked when, even coming all the way to the West, it was about the same thing. And in fact, that particular room, we had like 50% men, 50% women. And I was wondering what was happening. But there was something peculiar that now happened in a particular OTC, 2017. 2017 OTC, we had more people in the room, and we had few Nigerians and few Africans. And then we had a very peculiar keynote speaker, who is also here with us. And then, unlike the way everybody delivers their keynotes and session and you get bored and you're yawning, she just made it so lively and everybody's excited, and you're going to have a taste of that pudding this evening, actually. You know, and I was like, who is this woman? And she started telling us of how she discovered oil, how everybody told her, go and sleep. Somebody would call her at 2 a.m. midnight and tell her, go sleep, what are you still doing? You're looking for oil in a dry land where all the big giants have dug 100 holes and they didn't find anything there. So the likes of Mobil, Chevron, she would tell us the full story, you know. They had gone in there to try to strike oil, and they didn't find the oil. But she just had that belief that there was going to be oil, and being a geologist. And I just found the storytelling so interesting, so intriguing, so engaging, so down to earth. And then I was, you know, the way when a keynote delivers a very good message and everybody clocks around the person and she doesn't even know who to talk to. So I couldn't even reach out to her that particular OTC 2017. Now, I had launched my book 2016 in America here, Black Gold Refinery Business Made Easy, because having done research for about 3 years, I discovered that Africans aren't refining their oil, and that's one of the reasons why we're in poverty and there's so much energy gap. You know, and then I did a kind of a question session with a lot of top guns in the industry, and I kept asking them, why would you rather stay in the upstream? I said, oh no, they don't want to go into refining business, there's no money there. So that is why I had to then put a subtitle that says, "The Ultimate Guide to Making Big Money in Oil and Gas Refining." So that caught a lot of people's attention. And I had the intention to bring it to OTC, so I mobilized somebody to print like 1,500, over 1,000 copies for me, which I brought to America, and my targets were Africans. So it was more like, African, go drink your oil. Africans, go refine your oil. So I was giving it out to people free of charge, even though it sells for like $100 on Amazon. So, and then that was my ticket to reaching out to Susan, 2018. Remember 2017, I couldn't reach her. So 2018, she was a panelist at the same event, that's the WISE event. And then, of course, she told us the story again. But one thing caught my attention in her storyline. So it wasn't just about passion and emotions and studies. She hammered a lot on capacity building and training. And she told us about they went for one training, and after the training, that was what caused the transformation, and everybody that was part of that, they are like a syndicate group, are now investors in the oil. And then the second thing, the part of the story was the local content thing. And as at then, I had just joined Nigerian Content Consultative Forum as a volunteer, 2017. So for me, those were catchy words, and I wanted to hear more. So in order to be able to reach her, I took a copy of my book and I said, "I'd like to give you this as a gift because it's my birthday." Well, since 2013, my birthday has always been in UC because most times it clashes with OTC, except if I don't come to OTC. And then that was the fire. And she was like, "Oh, you wrote this book?" And then the rest became story. I started talking about the Nigerian African oil and gas industry, how we can close the gap, how we can get more women involved. And that day, she charged all of us. She said, "Go back to your countries and make it happen." And I held on to that. So after everybody had gone, I went back to her and said, "I want to go back to my country and make it happen. So how am I going to discover oil too?" And she was like, "Okay, we can do it together, da 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 da." And after that meeting, I called a meeting of all the African ladies that were in that room. And I said, "Did you hear what that woman said?" She said, "Go back to your country and make it happen." 2018, May 2nd. And then everybody filled their name. South Africa was there. Uganda, if I remember. A lady from Botswana. I from Nigeria. There was another lady from Nigeria, Biyemi Ashaolu, she left. And some other people like that. And that was the birth of women. Okay, yeah, so the following day, there were some women from an existing women in energy group here in America. So I joined them, joined their New Jersey chapter. And I was then, I joined them to be able to climb on their shoulder as, not reinventing the wheel. And then to see how we can also make it happen in Africa. And that was what gave birth to Women in Energy, Oil and Gas. Our milestone. The remaining part of the story, you read maybe somewhere on the social media or something, we are doing some releases and we're going to be doing more. Our milestone. So I was very, very intentional about the message we want to put across there. It wasn't about competing with the men. I keep emphasizing on that. And it wasn't about trying to show that we can do it better. I keep emphasizing on that. It was more about how can we complete the equation. I'm a mathematician. I have a first degree in pure and applied mathematics. I have a second degree in operational research, OR. So how can we complete that equation? How can Africa be so blessed with so much resources, and yet there's so much poverty, there's so much lack, there's so much gap, there's energy gap, there's so many lacks, and then we are swimming in a lot of fantastic resources. So it was more like, let's all come together and make it happen. My knowledge, your beats, my beats, we'll mix it all together. So 2018 May, We started calling for people that would be interested. Oh, some was like, oh, I don't want to be part of it. Oh, yeah, women thing, and all that. But it wasn't an easy journey, I must confess. We have one of the award recipient organization here today. I met their chairman and I told him about the vision, and he was like, oh, fantastic, that's good, yeah, they will be good. I said, can we also see how we can mirror what you guys are doing? Because I took time, when I joined NCCF, I took time to check out their history, and I saw that they started as an association, but they are now a major voice to be reckoned with in the nation. They have been able to affect policies, so much so that whole policy became an act that was signed into law in 2010. So for me, I just told him I would really want you to champion us into this as well, so that we can also be a voice for the women in the industry and also for the industry at large. And it took my hands and handed me over to one lady, and well, the rest is history. He's not here today, but he has his successor. Yeah. His successor is here, and that's is the beginning of Women in Energy, Oil and Gas 5 years ago. And it's a peculiar date because OTC was celebrating their 50th anniversary, and then we had just started. And then I could remember I met some other ladies at the media room, and I was sharing with them, and I asked them to come on board as well. And then we started with different people. It was indeed diverse. So we had people from Houston, people from Nigeria, people from South Africa, and different countries. And the vision had really grown to what we see today. I'll just flip through some of our milestones. So in 2018, that same 2018, there was an event in 4 Points by Sheraton where BOI was sharing the success stories around the Nigerian Consent Intervention Fund. And I happened to be invited to that event, and I asked them a question. Out of all these people you have given this money to, how many are women? And then the BOI lady said, we don't even see women come to apply. They don't put in their application, they don't put in their proposal. I said, why? He said, maybe they don't even know about the fund. I said, well, because they are probably marginalized. So can we have like a quota of that fund for women? And it sounded like, what did she say? Anyway, that continued. What started as a conversation there, we took it on to an advocacy level. 2019, we presented it officially to NCDMB through an event. And in 2020, a quota of the NCI fund of about $20 million, doubled by the investment bank handling it to $40 million, had been separated for women in energy, oil and gas businesses that want to leverage that fund to grow their business. Can we give a big applause? So there's a $40 million for women in energy, oil and gas business, of which you can access up to $500,000 for a period of 5 years, and for just a 5% interest. That's the best you can get, even in America here, because I do some investment banking. That's like the best you can get anywhere in the world, and that fund is there for any business in the industry that you want to do. And that advocacy came from Women in Energy, Oil and Gas. And another major one. So I joined NCCF in 2017 as I attended my SWG meeting. And again, I'll be the only woman. In fact, the other two women that are there, like supporting, they came to probably support at their association. So I'm like the only real woman in my own SWG. So I now learned that there are other 13 SWGs, and we would have like a retreat once a year. So I was looking forward to the retreat, and maybe I will even meet other ladies and all that. And alas, that particular retreat, I couldn't count 5 women in the room. 13 SWG. Nigeria, we are 220 million. And I'm like, no, there's a huge gap here. And so we started discussing it. How can we have a sectorial working group under the Nigerian Consent Consultative Forum that will be focused only on women, gender diversity rather. Initially, it sounded like, oh, Junior started making a noise, it's a noise. Then another time. Then we had a window again in 2019, and we wrote it, and I got our chairperson, Engineer Mrs. Olumaduka, to present it at the NCDMB events. And then when we got to the panel session, we hammered on it. And then NCDMB decided that they were going to look into it. But we had one thing that worked in our favor. The Act actually allows for addition of some other sectorial working group, and they don't necessarily have to go back to the National Assembly. By the way, we have National Assembly people here with us. Hello, thank you for coming. And then that was how 2 extra sectorial working groups were created. We named it Diversity Sectorial Working Group. That document, that advocacy document, that was what we named it. And we had 7 points, 7 points things we wanted the government to do for women in the industry. Because in 2016, my personal organization, the Black Gold Energy Authorities, we put in proposal to be one of the awardees of the gas flare commercialization projects. And when we went for the bid opening exercise in Abuja, I was looking forward, because it was gas, so I was looking forward to see a lot of other women and all that. Alas, again, we're not even up to 10 that came to represent our own organization. Every other lady that came there came, like I normally say, they came as follow come. If you know what I mean, you follow your gang carrying briefcase to just come into the hall. And I'm like, this is even gas. Why we don't even have women? So for me, it's not about competing with the men. It's about there is a lacuna that needs to be filled. And the organizations, the people, in fact, the entire nation, that lacuna needs to be filled for the entire nation to also be able to benefit from it. And that took us to growing the organization. Initially, most of the people that started, the founding members of WEOG were majorly government people, so we had a lot of people from NNPC. They are back there in Nigeria, there are plenty, at least almost over 500 of them. So we had a lot of people from NNPC, we had a lot of people from NUPRC, that's the former DPR. We had quite a number of them from PEF, PPPRA, quite a number of governments, them, because the government's parastatals easily sponsors people to come for OTC, so those came. And then we had few entrepreneurial women and all that. And today, by the special grace of God, we are celebrating 50th year anniversary, while OTC is celebrating 55th year. And by the special grace of God, we've seen fantastic milestones. We have women now that are entrepreneurs. We have women now that retire and they know what next to do. We are training women, building capacity. We are helping to close gaps. We have gone to the National Assembly. We went to the Senate. We went to present to the Senate, we went to present to the House of Rep. We supported during the PIB review. We reviewed the PIB with them. 230, I will never forget, 238 pages. We shared it upstream, midstream, downstream. All the upstream people go and review all the upstream pages. All the downstream people reviewed downstream pages. All the midstream people reviewed midstream pages. And like that, we came up with 7 points position. That is not about gender. And those things were adopted into the PIA. So they said I should round up. The story is long. We'll tell it another day. Thank you very much, everybody. And welcome to this event.
It's a round of applause for her. A round of applause for our president. She's very passionate about women and their role in the industry. Personally, I have benefited from some of these advocacy initiatives. We've attended trainings for women entrepreneurs by NCDMB. So many opportunities. During the IWD, the women were able to put up an e-library for science students in GSS Kabusa, and there was a little girl who started to make electricity from some plant. I can't remember the name of, what's the name of that plant? Lapa. I heard about it for the very first time in that. So there's no telling to how far women can go. when with the right support and the right synergy. And that is why we are here. That is the summary of the long story, and that is what Dr. Oladunni Owo represents. So please, a round of applause for her. Like I said at the beginning of the program, we were expecting our very special guest, the Permanent Secretary for the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria, to officially to give us his opening remark before we go into the anniversary lecture by Ms. Susan Morris. You don't want to miss that because she will tell you her story herself. So please, a round of applause for Ambassador Gabriel Tenimu Ajuda as he comes.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm a bit delighted that I see a few gentlemen amongst us this evening. These days, talking about gender issues comes with some form of caution because things are changing very rapidly. And before I begin this evening, the theme of this gathering is leveraging strategic women leadership in achieving sustainable energy future. And I want to assume that the women we're talking about here are female women. I just want us to be clear on what the issues are, because except we do that, we stand a chance of being misunderstood or misheard. While traveling here, someone sent me a message, an Instagram post. And this person was not in the office for whatever reason, or had not gone to work. And the boss called to ask, why were you not at work? And the person said, no, I was at work. He said, no, but you didn't come to work. He said, I was at work. You simply did not see me because I have chosen to be invisible. Hello? So, the moral of the story is, if you can choose to be what you want, male, female, trans, or whatever, I too can choose to be invisible. So I can choose not to be seen. I think the world is undergoing some form of confusion, but permit me this evening to say I'm speaking to female women. I just want to clarify that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very interesting topic that we're looking at a time where climate change has become a very major discourse in the affairs of practically every nation. It has become more like a global movement. And the issue of a sustainable future is one that is on the front burner as we speak. Why? We want to try as much as possible to make our generation comfortable without compromising the future of those that are to come behind us, our children, their children's children, and what have you. And we believe it is extremely important at a time like this that women especially are carried along in decision-making that will impact the future generations. And we will try this evening to look at why. We're all aware how crucial the role of women is in promoting and advocating for renewable energy sources. And we all agree that they are more in tune with social and environmental issues because oftentimes they are the closest to the grassroots and likely to consider the broader impacts of their actions much more than the men. They are also very good communicators. Women tend to communicate better than men, and they can effectively raise awareness about the importance of renewable energies, starting with such simple issues as to energy efficiency in the home front. What kind of energy should we use? How much energy should we use? Should we leave the lights on? Should we put the lights off? Should we use firewood? Should we use charcoal? All these things have their impacts on the environment, whether we like it or not. And we see how very strong and powerful women are when it comes to taking decisions like that, especially in adopting clean energy practices. Some time ago, there was a light out in Plateau State. I don't know how many of you know Plateau State in Nigeria. Somewhere around, is it not central? Yeah, not central in Nigeria. I was in Jos at that time. And this light out lasted 2 weeks. And trust me, after 14 days or thereabouts that we had this total blackout in the area, practically every tree went down. Practically every tree went down. The women were simply cutting the trees and using them as firewood. I'm not telling you what I heard. I was there in Jos and I saw it happen live. They needed energy. They needed warm water for their children. They needed to make food for their families. They needed to do 1,000,001 things. And the only way they could have access to any form of energy was firewood, charcoal. So they went ahead for it. Am I blaming the women for doing that? No. If I had given them an alternative, the trees might still be standing by today. But we see the importance of women when it comes to issues of energy transition. It's extremely important. When we also came up with the Green Belt initiative that was to cover the 10 states in northern Nigeria, and when we were building that policy, we deliberately identified the role of women. Because to even plant trees, you will be shocked at how much impact women have in villages, much more than the men. Now, does it mean that the men don't care? No. Oftentimes it is just a form of a distribution of responsibilities, if you like. The men are busy with some other things that they feel are important to them. While the women who are closer to the grassroots in most cases, especially in rural areas, pay more attention to issues that have to do with the environment. So it is extremely important that while considering issues in energy transition, that women are given their place, starting from that end, the rural communities, all through to the echelons and to the highest seats that you can think of when it comes to decision making concerning energy and energy sustainability as we go along. Women bring unique skills and perspectives to the energy sector, which is essential in developing and implementing sustainable energy solutions. Women are adjudged to be underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and maths fields, but this is changing. And we are seeing more women pursuing careers in energy-related fields. Women's diverse backgrounds and experiences can help to develop innovative approaches and technologies to tackle challenges facing the energy sector. This is coming at a time that is very interesting, actually. Recently, I met a new friend in London when I went to give a talk in Chatham House. And it was very strange, as 2 years ago, that she was one of the topmost top, and I think she still is, globally, when it comes to ICT law. And she is a professor from Nigeria. Professor Ifeanyi, actually. Ifeanyi Nenna or something. She's just moved to Bradford University, where she heads that whole department where she teaches ICT law. At some point, people will have thought, what is a woman doing with ICT law? Till today, it is still a new field. But you realize that a lot is coming from that perspective that is beginning to affect energy transition. We were at a conference not too long ago, at a board meeting, after which we were taken into some form of workshop. And then we began to realize the impact of what is going on and how the world is moving, especially with ESG. And then we begin to see that groups are coming up to begin to form systems and processes concerning energy and how energy is being sourced as we speak. One of the very interesting ones that really touched me at that workshop was that people were not only sued for engaging in the extraction of fossil fuels, but they went beyond them to sue the banks that made money available for them to be able to do that process. Look, times are changing, and women are taking the lead. But it is very important. It is very important that we understand the very, 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 very important role that this gender holds. Gone are the days. If we go back 20, 30 years, and we call for an oil and gas conference, how many women were likely to be in the room? But today, the story has changed. And then when we came to OTC, I don't know if we had done by a show of hands, if we're going to have more women than men or more men than women. So, you see that the competition is real. But then, the beauty is that this is a healthy one. So, women are more likely to consider the social and environmental impacts of business decisions than men. By virtue of how they are built and how they are designed by God, women will worry more about the environment. They will worry more about what happens when we do X, Y, Z. Men may just want to worry about the profits angle. How much money are we going to make? And with money we can address everything. But thank God for laws that are now forcing us to look closely and ensure that we meet some standards. Especially when it comes to taking care of the environment and issues. But on the average, it is believed that women make more, women are more likely to make decisions that will help the environment much more than men will do, even when making business decisions. Involving women in decision-making processes around energy policy will ensure that social and environmental impacts are taken into account. Increased gender equality, poverty reduction, job creation. Women's participation in the energy sector can also lead to improved health outcomes, particularly in rural areas where women are often responsible for collecting and using traditional fuels. Having more women in leadership positions in the energy industry can also inspire younger women, or younger girls if you like, to pursue careers that will help them create a pipeline of diverse talents in the energy industry and contribute to building a sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, Strategic women leadership is crucial to achieving a sustainable energy future. Women bring diverse perspectives, innovative ideas, and a unique approach to leadership that is essential for a sustainable future. This is that time that we must leverage women's leadership to accelerate the transition to renewable energy and ensure a sustainable future for all. I thank you.
Another round of applause for him. Times are changing and women are taking the lead. You know why women are taking the lead? Because we are built to last. Please, a round of applause for yourself. If you are a woman, if you were born of a woman, or you have a woman at home, or a woman in your hotel room. All the men stopped clapping when I said that. What happens at OTC stays at OTC. Thank you very much, sir. And it is very important what we are doing here. It is critical because sustainability is making decisions that solve today's problems without compromising future generations. And it's interesting that you talked about Jos. I am an original Birom girl from Jos. That is my home state. And I know for a fact what you are saying. I remember when there was a crisis and a number of villages were in IDP camps. The major challenge was not that they weren't getting support and donations from people. They were getting that. But when they give them rice and salt and other things, there was no energy to cook the food. And they were spending, in IDP camps where they didn't have food or money, they were spending 15,000 naira a day on firewood. So the alternative is not necessarily cheaper when you look at it at that local level. And we're in Africa, almost in every African country, almost 80% of people live below the poverty line. That means that they're in rural areas and would benefit significantly. And it's only women that will change the narrative so that energy business does not become is no longer an elitist thing. It's for everybody. Because that is the one thing that God has given, the Almighty God has given us in abundance for free. It doesn't go away. It only changes from one form to another. Where most of us are scientists here. Am I right or not? Yep. That is because God knows how important energy is. And the whole idea has been captured that by the time we leave this place, 12 months from today, when we reconvene, we will have practical success stories that we would have a message that will go back to those rural areas and will make an impact. We cannot change the world. We can only change our spheres of influence. So a round of applause for being in this room where change is happening. Okay, we're shifting gears a little bit. Okay, I would also, but before I do, I would like to recognize a few people who have stepped into the room. If you were at the event yesterday, someone spoke, and when she spoke, she told us that as a woman, you should just be confident wherever you go. And speak English, that's what she said. And she said, even if you're not confident, put on glasses. So I wore my glasses today. I told her I wore glasses today. And when you wear your glasses, just take off your glasses and say it again. Could you say, did I get it right? So we're going to hear a little bit from these women who continue to inspire us. But I'd like to welcome Dr. Cynthia Egurijo, who is the technical advisor to the Honorable Minister for Niger Delta Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and she's also the CEO of the Free Trade Zone. Please, a round of applause. We also have Dr. Portia Jackson, who is the Business Development Manager of the City of Houston. Please, a round of applause for her. She's here today because her business is to make sure that businesses thrive well in Houston. And I know that there are a number of people who have businesses here in Houston. Like we have Engineer Dixon. Engineer Dixon Okote, did I take you by surprise? Please, a round of applause for him. He's the kind of person that whenever there's challenges in the upstream sector in Nigeria, they always look for him because he's a problem solver. They say networking or relationships is the new oil. So let's drill it. So we're going to get drilling in this event. Before we call Miss Susan Morris, we call on Miss Susan Morris to tell us her story, we'd like to take a few goodwill messages from some of our distinguished guests who are here. And I will start with Miss Portia Jackson, because she's our host. We're here in Houston, so we'll hear just for 2 minutes, give us a goodwill message here, and then we will go to, before she comes up, permit me to also introduce a member of the Board of Directors of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Mr. Henry Obi. Please, a round of applause for him. If I make a mistake in pronouncing your name or your designation, please bear with me. My Oga Richmond Osuji is here. I'm still learning the trade. I promise you that by this time next year, I will still get better. So please bear with me. I still go to him for some advice, even during this event. So if you see me around the corner, you know I am learning. It's a learning process. So Miss Portia Jackson, and then we'll hear from Mr. Henry Obi, and then we'll hear from Mr. B before Susan comes up. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Portia Jackson with the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunity. We want to welcome everybody who has traveled to Houston for this event and the various events that have been occurring this week and that's going to occur this weekend and this month. We are, our office is here as an advocate for small businesses to help them to thrive, to start to thrive, to grow and scale. We have various resources and services that we have as in addition to certification. We are the certifying agency for the City of Houston. Everything that we offer to small businesses is at no financial cost, and that includes our business development programming as well. And so we're just glad that everyone is here. I want to make sure that you have the resources and know that you do have the support of the City of Houston in your business endeavors. Thank you.
There will be so many women in leadership positions that every office in the energy sector or everywhere would always have a nursery to accommodate women who have children so that we can still have a family life and a career at the same time. Thank you very much, Ms. Portia. If you're looking to do business in Houston, there you go, you have the right person here. Okay, I'd like to call on Mr. Henry Obi to give us his goodwill message. Please, a round of applause for him. DJ, some music as they're coming up so that there can be a dance to their stride.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to stand on existing protocol. Okay, I didn't realize there were so many of us in the audience. But just reflecting on the theme, I was saying to myself that NMPC Limited, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, not corporation, we've since transitioned to the commercial, privately owned limited liability entity. I think we've shown good example on this front in terms of the role of women in providing strategic leadership on the energy front, because our chairperson, of course, is a lady, distinguished Senator NRG Park. We also have two very distinguished ladies on the board, so about 30% of our board members are actually female. And if you look across the company, 26 to 30% of our top management executives, and I'm sure a couple of them are MDs in the audience as well. Can't see them yet. But we're on that pathway. We recognize the role that women have to play. And some of the conversations we're having on our car, and which the ambassador has reflected in his speech, is that women have the clarity of mind and purpose when they take on tasks. So we're totally behind this theme. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I just want to wish everybody here a very successful celebration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause for him. In Nigeria, we're used to having a lot of support. But when we come to places like this, you do everything yourself, especially if you're on a budget. So please bear with us. Engineer Adoke, please, let's make welcome Engineer Adoke as he gives us his goodwill message. DJ. No, DJ, that is a wrong song. You can't be talking about Sofa. When the CEO upstream of NNPC is coming on stage, please change the music. No, change the music, Sofa. Oh my gosh, no. Another music, please. That's better.
Thank you, it's okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on existing protocols. It's always difficult to speak when your bosses have spoken. It's like they've said everything in my mind. I would have just said good evening and go back. But on a serious note, it's a great pleasure for me to be here. In fact, my honorable Pam said invited us to come here. And my former boss has already spoken. Women are the salt of life. Without women, there are no men. If you are doing anything in this world and a woman is not involved, it will never succeed. So for me, it's a great pleasure to be here. And I'm personally touched because my life revolves around a woman. My mother, my wife, and my sister. I was brought up by my mom. My dad died early when I was about 10 years old. So wherever I am today was made possible by a woman. My mother made me go to school. My mother encouraged me. Even when I had issues in the office about taking decisions, a woman who taught in those days was a standard school. But anything that bothers me, when I just call her, "Mommy, I have this difficulty," first, she will tell me, "Calm down, my son. There is a solution to every problem. If it's something you can do, go ahead and do it. If it is something you cannot do, ask for help. And if help cannot come, take it to God. And do not be despaired." So ladies and gentlemen, I personally in support of what is going on today. But like my boss has ever said, in the company we work, women have always been in the forefront. Like I told you, the chairman of NSCPC board is a woman. We have about 30% of women in the board. And in the management team too, we have a lot of them. Even in this conference, I think we'll have more women participating from NSCPC than men. And in my working life, I think Kate, the MC, I've come across with her. And I've also seen a lot of women in the oil and gas industry. Not just this, we also have the women in energy, we have women engineers, we have the hardware. So you can see the women are not competing, but letting us know that what the men can do, the women can do better. Then my only advice is, the women should not think that they are a weaker sex. I think they are stronger than the men. So we want to say that you lead and we'll surely follow you. So I want to align myself with all the discussions that are going to happen tonight. And I think we want to learn from the guest speaker. And at the end of the day, we'll go home better. Without a woman, there will be no man. I wish you well and have a good evening. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for him. Because you know how difficult it is for a Nigerian man to say women should lead. And he has said we should lead. The only thing that he has said is we should ask. And you know, research shows that men are confident. When they want something, he will wear his suit, he will borrow a car and come. And some of us have married some of those men who will come with confidence, even though he has nothing in his bank account or anything. But you see, a woman, before she will do anything, she will say, okay, we constantly feel underqualified for roles. And so we feel I need to get another master's degree. I have 2 master's degrees because of that. I need to get a doctorate. I need to get, and we constantly feel the need to add. But the solution is very simple. Just ask. Please, can we say it together? Just ask. You're sitting in the room with people who can change the trajectory of your business. What should you do? Just ask. What should you do? Just ask. Do not be afraid to just ask. And I dare say, sir, before we take it to God, God uses human beings to answer prayer. So sitting in this room are answers to some people's prayers. If you agree with me, can I get a big yes, please? Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. So while the dinner is being served, there's a goodwill message which will be projected on the screen. Just permit me to. The goodwill message is from the Executive Commissioner, Exploration and Acreage Management of NUPRC and Grand Ambassador of WEOG, Miss Rose Rundong, who should have been here. She really wanted to be here, but she was unable to make it. And so, in her very supportive way and manner, she has sent in a goodwill message.
She's on.
She's on?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, please go ahead. I think she sent, I have the text of it here. Okay, she's online. Oh, beautiful. How do we get the volume?
She right here. Oh.
Right here?
Okay, volume.
Okay, hold on, ma'am. We'll get the volume on. I think the laptop is muted. Jumoke, please, can you help us check the laptop? Please hold on a second while we play. Is it from the TV?
Where's it? Turn the volume for the TV.
Ma'am, if you can hear me, we're having issues with the sound.
The volume for the TV.
Can you please say something, ma'am?
You can hear, but you can hear all of it. You just maybe turn up the volume.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, permit me to introduce the chairperson of Belize Natural Energy, Miss Susan Morris. So while the technology is being set up, we will take Miss Ndong's message after the lecture. This is the woman of the moment, our grand matron. The DJ is going to play a song. She's not going to just walk to the stage. She's going to dance to the stage because she's... All right.
Don't sleep, wake up.
Okay, shall we stand and give her some support as she comes? All right.
Thank you, ladies. Whoa. Actually, I should start off by telling you this quick story about 8 amazing ladies who came from Nigeria to Belize last September. And one of them is in here. Where is she? There she is. They came all the way from Nigeria to Belize in Central America. And they were quite serious when they first arrived. And they were sat around the table, and Belize Natural Energy, which is the company that I co-founded, we had everybody around the big conference table. And these very serious energy ladies, some entrepreneurs, some with the National Oil Company, just a stellar group, but terribly serious. And we didn't know what to do. And you know what happened? Luckily enough, it was my 70th birthday, and they held a surprise party for me. And the key was dancing. We all danced. They got that very song, lo 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 lo. And the lady up there, just Patricia, I'm talking about you. You became famous for getting so far down. But I think it's a credit, a tribute to the way that this whole group can help everybody relax and have some fun. You know, instead of just taking life so seriously. And it makes all the difference. We became friends with 8 Nigerian powerful energy ladies who were way far away from home. And it was that connection, that energy connect, that made all the difference. That was the key. Where are you? Would you agree?
Yes.
You would? I'm the co-founder of Belize Natural Energy, but I'm originally from Belfast in Ireland. And I just want to highlight a couple of steps that I took on my career, which actually might give hints to anybody, actually men or women. Because when I was in Belfast, I studied geology. I'm a petroleum geologist, but I had been hired by an American company. And so I thought, I better learn a bit about America. Because here I was in Belfast, which was war-torn. There was a civil war going on there. But I heard this word entrepreneur, which was not a common word in Ireland at all. And I thought, when I go to America, I'd better become one of those things, an entrepreneur. And so I sort of looked into it. And within 3 years out of college, I became an entrepreneur. Because I thought you were meant to when you went to America. Because I didn't know I couldn't. And that's a key. That's a key for all the parents in the room and all the people wondering, you know, what's next, what's my career path. It's almost great just to say, I don't know I can't, so why not have a go at it? Have a bash at it. So I became an entrepreneur. And in Denver, I did it more quickly than I had 3 guys who were in the oil business as well. We all used to meet. And actually, one of them, a couple of them were quite famous, but it was far easier, and this is for the women in the audience, it was far easier for me to make the decision because there weren't any limiting mindsets. I didn't have to save up for a family, the way a man is quite often brought up to be responsible and save up for a family. I had myself and my dog, and I thought, well, I may as well take the risk. What's the worst thing that can happen? That's another good one. What's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work, and I've got to go and find a job again. So there's a couple of, what would I say, just phrases that can help if you're a parent or if you're thinking about a journey right now or whatever. There are so many, as already been said here, there are so many accomplished people in this audience that I know some of them have met each other, but that connection at a place like this can be the spark, the ignition that allows you to take that jump into the unknown. That, dare I say, I'd love to go to the Niger Delta. Peter told me all about the Niger Delta, and I've been fascinated by it. But most people I meet say, most people want to go to, you know, the south of Spain, not necessarily the Niger Delta. But it's an area which has been blessed with huge amounts of oil. And indeed, Nigeria, as I was told by the Nigerian visitors, is the 7th largest oil producer in the world. And I think they, with a little bit of hesitation, said that Belize is the smallest producer of oil in the world, which it's actually not about the amount, it's what you do with it. And that's why the ladies came to Belize, to see how we had created empowerment in our communities and balance and harmony with our environment. And by the way, yes, I'm the co-founder, but the other person was a man, and his name was Mike Usher. And I want to take a second to tell you a quick story about him. I went to Belize when I was a wee young geologist, and I landed and fell in love with the people. I saw and heard and felt an openness, a closeness to life's force, to God, right there. And I was blown away. And I knew in my heart there was oil, but I knew if it was to be developed, it had to be developed in harmony with and for the people. There were 50 dry holes. Shell, BP, Exxon, Mobil, ConocoPhillips, everybody had drilled a well and left. And in fact, a number of them took time to phone me and say, Susan, you're ruining your career. There is no oil in Belize. You've got to stop talking about it. But I couldn't, because once that passion and that vision is with you, it's there, because you see it done. You see the people rejoicing in Belize after the discovery, before you've even got the drill rig in. And that's one of the sort of universal truths. Mike Usher, he and I tried for 15 years to find oil, spending our own money with everybody telling us we were stupid. And it wasn't until we got to understand the power within ourselves, the power and potential of our own minds. Yes, I'm a scientist. Mike was a surveyor with CGG, but we'd been in a discipline, and we had not understood the fact, which is very, very prevalent today, which is that we're only using maybe 5-7% of our mind, and how to develop and bring forth the full capacity and live in that full capacity. And as Dooney said, we went and studied, just actually rather quickly in a focused way, studied the power of the mind and applied that to our exploration. Mike suddenly died. And I was probably more moved to keep going. And we named the first well, we started to drill the Mike Usher number 1. We started to drill in May 2005. And on the 24th of June, in the very first well, the Mike Usher number 1, not only did we hit oil, but we hit the best oil in the world, light, sweet crude, and it still goes into the generators without refining. I mean, talk about a gift from God. But if you're holding on to your seats, wait for this one. And the president of Shell actually phoned me and asked me about this. He said, how in the world did you do that? And I said, are you sitting down? Mike Usher passed, he died on the 24th of June 2004, and we discovered the first oil in a wildcat of all wildcats on the exact day 1 year later, the 24th of June 2005. And even he grabbed his desk and said, this is about something bigger than us. And that's the connection. By the way, that's the real energy business. It's the energy we give life. It's that energy within us to do and follow our passions, and to share it with our friends and our children, and ignite it in everyone that we meet, and be that being that we were born to be. There was a darling little 2 or 3-year-old in here earlier, and even that lightness of her little laughter and her running up there reminded me so much of that freedom of spirit, that freedom of energy, that birthright that we all have within us, that is so important to reconnect with and be that being. Now that's the words, those are the words that connected Dr. Dooney O and myself 5 years ago, right here in Houston at the OTC, when I was talking to an audience, actually it was mainly women. And Dooney, you came up to me, you told the story, and asked me if I would come to Nigeria, basically, and do a similar thing that we'd done in Belize. And I said, go and do it yourself. And you did. And that's another key piece here. It is to remember to pass on your gifts, to tell others, to ignite others, to help others, to work with others, to go for it, to jump out into the unknown, because it is so much more exciting. So much more exciting. And it's what we're born for, we're born to be, in total alignment and energy connect with life. And sometimes, we get analytical and get mindsets because we don't necessarily know the workings of our minds. But take a moment and look at the miracle of life. We were blessed at Belize Natural Energy by literally being hit in the face by a giant modern miracle. It's impossible. It's impossible to find oil on the first well. Everybody told us that. But it's not. It happened. And it's a story that traveled all the way to Nigeria, and then the Nigerian ladies came all the way to Belize. And we all let go dancing and became great and best friends. And now, Dooney, I believe other countries are wanting to have this type of supportive network to help ignite each other, to go for it, to be the being again that you were born to be, whether it be an entrepreneur, a mother, and everything. But to appreciate every second, I might even say every drop of oil. Because when I saw my first oil, and it was in Belize, when I'd only graduated about 2 years, and there was a can of oil from one of these wells that had a show, and it was shining in the sunlight, and it was golden. And I realized then, this is 40 years ago, that it was a golden gift from God. It's the trees and the environment that Mother Nature has heated and pressed and turned into the most calorific quality energy that we could ever want. It is a total gift. However, and many people have mentioned the word renewable and transition. However, and this is really important, and I had the honor of meeting the president of Zambia. I spoke at a conference in Zambia last September, and he asked me about the natural resource of Zambia. And my reply about the natural resource of Zambia was not the copper belt or even the cobalt and lithium that may be in the tailings. It's the people. It's the ignited energy of the people. They're the energy business. We are the energy business. It's our creative energy that makes it happen across the board. And so I would say it's the renewable of all renewables. And that's our innovative, creative energy that Portia, you're bringing forth here in Houston with the small businesses and encouraging. And all the friends, I'm thinking of Peter now in in the Niger Delta. All the friends here are about making a difference in their community, in the world. And so I see there's movement here, and I think it might be time for me to end and just say I'm honored to be speaking with all of you dignitaries, both from the government, the private sectors, the energy industry, and beyond. And thank you very much, Jenny, for the invitation. Thank you.
Please, a big round of applause for Susan. Thank you very much for your patience. We're coming to the end of the program. But before we do, we're going to have a quick fireside chat so that you can hear inspiring stories as well. We can have something to take home. While we're preparing for that, okay, I've lost my paper. Yes, please. Sorry. That's the wrong one. Anyway, I would like to recognize a few people. We have Patricia Fitzpatrick, who is partner to Ms. Susan Morris. Please, a round of applause for her. And also, I'd like to recognize Mr. Victor Effiong from the National Assembly. Yes, please, a round of applause for him. You know, we have our legislators in the House, so I'm going to give him that opportunity to give his goodwill message on behalf of the National Assembly. Please, Mr. Victor Effiong, a round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. I will stand on the visit protocol. Like one of our brothers said, I can't really recall his name. I happen to be the only son of my mother. So I also know that women are very, very important. If you treat a woman very, very well, the nation will move further. Incidentally, I have 2 girls, so I believe so much in women empowerment, and I try whatever I can. I know that if we work with women and assist them in everything they need to push on the society will get better. So I'm very happy to be here. And in the course of our work, I remember when we were working on the petroleum industry bill. I think one of the women here, I'm trying to look at the face, we worked with her and also gave her opportunity to present our papers when we were doing the public hearing. And in our society, we need to empower the women. Once we empower the women, the society will move forward. I'm very happy to be here, and we pray that things will get better and our nation will go further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor Effiong. So you see, we're covered now. when we hear from the executive and the legislature, we know that we're truly covered. Now we're going to take another goodwill message from our Honorable Chairman of PETA, Mr. Nick Odinwe. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Nick Odinwe for your goodwill message. So you didn't think that we will let you go?
I'm overwhelmed by the sheer presence of the beautiful ladies in the house. I bring greetings to you. Good evening once again. And for those of us who are not here, please eat your food quietly and make sure that anything the lady wants around you, make sure you provide it for her. I want to take this moment to recognize the incredible impact you're making in the industry. I mean the women, not the men. As women, you are breaking down barriers and paving the ways for future generations to follow in your footsteps. Your dedication, passion, and expertise have been instrumental in changing the face of the energy industry. Your accomplishments are inspiring and have helped us to usher in a new era of progress and innovation. And I really mean this one because in the places we travel around Africa, women are the inspiration. If you go to East Africa, you will know they are there. The president will ask somebody for an explanation. You see a woman who didn't even prepare for it, was able to give you the facts and the figures. So I continue to give you guys kudos. As we continue to move forward, I know that you will continue to lead the way. Your hard work is essential to building a more sustainable, equitable, and prosperous for all. I thank you all for all you do. To have more women coming. Most of you have earned your slot and space to be better members. The assets you guys have in the industry is huge. Please come and let's work and help guide us to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that inspiring message. Women are powerful. We also provide a very good support system. Do the men in this room agree? Yeah. Women provide, they say the man is the head, we're not competing with you. But the woman is the neck. So if the woman decides not to, we know that the head is in trouble. You know, my husband called me the other day and he was asking me from Nigeria. And when I was leaving, I asked him, I said, are you able to use the washing machine if I'm not there? And he was like, what is it? I can't do it. And so he called me the other day and he was asking, where is this? Where is that? And so I had to do a video call from here to be able to manage things. I'm sure some men know what I'm talking about. They say an average woman has 8 hands. She's like, a woman is like an octopus. She has one hand on the stove, another hand, 3 other hands on the kids, her toes, mopping the floor, her head is doing one thing or the other. Anyway, our time is fast spent. We have awards to present. We're going to be going into the awards section very soon. And in the interest of time, we will not be having the fireside chat. We'll just have a few messages just so that we can keep the program short and simple. Our panelists have kindly requested that they would just rather give goodwill messages. So to do that, before we go into the award ceremony, which our president will be doing the honors of presenting the awards before our guests go, I would like to call on Dr. Cynthia for a goodwill message. DJ, please play one music. She has to dance with Gates because she told us how to. You know, women, we must do everything with style. We do it with grace. We do it with the dance. We do it with candles. We do it. All right. I will never leave your side. I dedicate my time.
Good evening, everyone. I stand on the existing protocol. But let me greet Susan Morris. Thank you for being our champion advocate, cheerleader, trailblazer. We salute you. To the men who are here, can I just say that you're very brave? And we salute you for being here. You know, when we have women events, it's easy to turn it into a men-bashing event. But that's not what this is. Because we know that we work in partnership with the men. They have said there is no man without woman. And it's true, there is no woman without man. The two go together. So we salute and applaud you. And we say thank you for being supportive. Because if you weren't supporting us, we will not make the advances we make. So we thank you also. And for my beautiful energy ladies, I'm happy to see you all. I just want to say, just want to drop a goodwill message. Just hello and have a good evening and enjoy yourselves and learn. And God bless you. Have a good evening. Be blessed.
Thank you. You know, I'm still going to have you on my panel for one of my webinar series because women need to hear women. We need to hear women who have gone ahead of us. We need to hear personal stories. Sometimes you're going through stuff and you think that you're in a dark place alone. It's interesting that when we connect, you'll be amazed that another woman either has gone through or is going through what you're going through. And there's so much that we get to glean and learn from one another. Particularly women who have excelled in an industry such as this, the energy industry. Countless times where I've had to sit in meetings and I'm the only female in the meeting. So women who have risen to the top here, I always follow them. One of such women is Mrs. Lami Ahmed, Dr. Mrs. Lami Ahmed. Her story is another interesting story, but I'm not here to tell her story. I will just ask that you stay connected. Don't live in a hurry. This is a bonding program for us. And it's important that we keep this bond as strong as possible. So on that note, before we go into the award ceremony, I've been asked by my president that we recognize women who have indicated interest in joining us in the Women in Energy, Oil and Gas. Usually, every time we have an opportunity to gather, we recognize them and we do a formal induction of the women. So permit me at this point to call on Dr. Oladuni Owo, National President, Women in Energy, Oil and Gas, and to also ask the inductees, if you're one of those that will be inducted, please, could you come to the front? Please, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So every time we gather like this, we use it as an opportunity to decorate, actually, the members that haven't been decorated. Some of them have been members for quite a while. They've never been decorated, and we want to lash in on the opportunity that our grand patron, global grand patron, is here, Ms. Susan Morris, to do the decoration. So I'm just going to call out. We're supposed to have our diasporan team from Dallas, from Houston, and from New Jersey, but one thing or the other. So I'll call out, she's been a member for a while, but you know, COVID and all that. So Miss Cynthia Iguridu. Dr. Cynthia Iguridu, please pardon me, ma'am. Dr. Cynthia Iguridu. Ma'am, you'll be decorating. So you just put the sash on them and the lapel. Dr. Cynthia Iguridu. We have Mrs. Bose Nungweri. We have Mrs. Ifi Tete Mbok. Okay, so those are the three we are quickly going to decorate, and they will be decorated by one and only, so that you can go and discover your own oil as well. Okay, or even FC says she won't get decorated by the oil and gas.
I did my own virtually during COVID. Other people are getting decorated.
Okay, so even me, I will get decorated again. Since it's Susan Morris that is doing this one this time around. Pictures, camera. Okay. Okay. Okay, Engineer Estella Yaya Balogun, Mrs. Ife Umbok. Pictures. Okay, even Miss Kate Pam Semlek, who has been a member for 4 years. I want to be decorated by Susan. Okay, so dance. Sir, you'll be helping us with the awards. Okay, dance. You're welcome to WEOG officially. We ask that you hand this on Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I'd like to also mention that. Thank you very much, everybody. I'd like to say that WEOG is 5, but we have 2 children. The first child we gave birth to in January is WEOG Uganda. It's a conversation that started 3 years actually. It started just like the way it started with Susan and I, between a lady that came to Nigeria, and then we continued, we started chaperoning them, we started helping them to put things together, help them with constitution. And then in January 2023, we officially launched Women in Energy and Extractive Network Uganda. And we're going to do the big launch on the 11th of May, that's next week, in Uganda, and you are all invited to Uganda. Some of us were with the petroleum minister yesterday, quite inspiring woman. And then we also have Ghana. Ghana is upcoming. We are going to we are pregnant with Ghana actually, and very soon they are going to come out of the embryo. Thank you very much. Okay, so we quickly go into the awards now. The very first award goes to an association. Okay, no, that's not going to be the first one actually. The first award is going to go to okay, so like I mentioned during the history time, so 2018 I went to OTC, I came to OTC and I went to the Nigerian pavilion and I met the chairman of an association that told me, oh, we organized all this. I said, oh, really, you did that? So fantastic. And then we got talking, and I told him about the Women in Energy, Oil and Gas Vision, and then he invited me to an event called WEOG then. His name is Mr. Bank Anthony Okorafor. And today here, we are celebrating that organization. And for helping to, they gave us that confidence, you know. I remember Bank Anthony would call me, would you be coming for WEOG? I said, which one is WEOG again? And then, okay, so we would like to call on the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources Nigeria to come help confer this award. Actually, this award was conferred was officially conferred by the Minister of State for FCT and the Chairman of NNPC last March at the IWD celebration, but unfortunately Petan weren't around. So I'm going to call the Chairman of Petan, Mr. Nicholas. Okay, give him the money to dance. Okay, I won't give you the award if you don't dance. Please give us the one you will dance. No, this one you won't dance. Equal, give him the equal one. No, sir. Okay, if you don't dance, you are giving. So let me just talk about what this award is. We acknowledge 5 different organizations that were given the Hall of Fame Award. These are organizations that encouraged us, supported us, and gave us the go-ahead to do it. You know, they kept telling us, you can do it, you can do it, and Petan happens to be one of them. So, thank you.
Thank you for this award, and I will not forget it in a hurry. Thank you.
Petan has promised not to forget women in energy, oil, and gas. A round of applause for him, sir. The next awardee is a woman that we call her an energy sheroes. If you hear a story about how she joined the organization, why she joined the industry, you'll be amazed. But she shared that with us in 2021, and some women were crying. And I'd like to invite no other but
Dr. Mrs. Cynthia Eguridu, who is currently the GM CEO, Oil and Gas Free Trade Zone Nigeria, Organization of Nigeria, and she's also the technical advisor to NDDC Minister. Oh my God, Minister of Niger Delta. Yes, oh, that's it. Please, can we give her a big round of applause? She's an inspiration. She made Oil and Gas Free Trade Zone come out from where it was sleeping to what it is now. It's an Energy Heroes Award called the Torchbearer Award. The last award for tonight, the other people aren't around. We have Mrs. Nkechi Obi, she's not around. Now, the last award goes to none other but the global patron of women in energy, oil and gas, the energy woman herself, from the energy within, Miss Susan Morris. She actually has like 5 awards, so we've been planning this up. All Susan Morris' awards. Please, everybody that came with her, please stop. No. This is your energy result.
Don't sleep, don't sleep. Wake up.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Madam President. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I would like to apologize to our online audience. We were supposed to have Ms. Ndong's message, which I have it written down. I have the text of it sent to me, and I think that it would be utterly disrespectful of us if we do not read this message because she was online herself, but because we were unable to project the sound, it wasn't possible to hear her read this message herself. Mrs. Ndong, please, we ask that you respectfully receive our apologies. However, her goodwill message reads, having observed all protocols, standing on existing protocols, it reads, goodwill message from Ms. Rosendong, FNMGS, Executive Commissioner, NUPRC, at the 5th Women in Energy, Oil and Gas, WEOG 2023, Texas, USA. It gives me great pleasure to deliver this goodwill message at the auspicious occasion of the 5th anniversary lecture and award dinner of the Women in Energy, Oil and Gas, WEOG. I am honored to be a part of a community of talented and dedicated women who are making impact in the energy industry. I want to use this medium to thank everyone involved in WEOG, including the executives and organizers of this year's anniversary lecture and award banquet. For the tremendous progress they have made in the last 5 years since the birth of this organization that was created to promote gender diversity and inclusion in a male-dominated energy industry.
You have done a great job in setting up a rich mix of presenters and panelists who will be addressing a wide range of audiences on the conference theme. The subject for this year's anniversary lecture, Built to Last, Leveraging Strategic Women Leadership for a Sustainable Energy Future, could not have been chosen at a better time. There is no doubt that women have accomplished a lot in our society. However, the fewer number of women holding strategic positions across various disciplines has made it difficult to research women's leadership roles. Nevertheless, the status quo is changing at a breakneck pace across all sectors. The government of Nigeria has recognized the potential of women and as a result has taken steps to appoint more women into major leadership positions within the energy industry. According to a particular quote attributed to Vladimir Lenin, a Russian revolutionary politician and a political theorist, we can't move forward without women. I believe somebody else has said that. We've heard this resonating throughout this room today. Permit me to remark that some of the attributes more commonly associated with women, such as empathy, persuasion, entrepreneurship, and humility, help to produce better leaders that inspire cooperation and responsibility, creativity and innovation, improve performance and higher productivity in the workplace. While these capabilities are frequently regarded as soft skills, the tactics themselves are effective, particularly when integrated in leading an organization during a period of transformation. I want to encourage all participants to, in their own ways, encourage women participation in various sectors, thereby contributing to the growth and development of our economy. I would also like to commend all of us for the unwavering commitment to professionalism and excellence in our work. You are paving the way for future generations of women to thrive in this industry, and I have no doubt that your achievements will continue to inspire and empower others. Finally, I wish to encourage the women to continue to integrate more creative ways of applying the knowledge and expertise of women in establishing the next leadership for the energy demands of the future. Thank you. So, please a round of applause for Ms. Udo and for me for reading on her behalf. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this ceremony, but it cannot end without cutting of a cake. And we'll be doing it in twofold. We'll merge it as a two-in-one. We'll be celebrating WEOG at 5. But the story of WEOG cannot be complete without the energetic, the tenacious, and sometimes overbearing, but go-getting president and visionary of the Women in Energy, Oil and Gas, Dr. Oladuni Owo, who is celebrating her birthday today. So every year WEOG celebrates his birthday, it is also her birthday. I'm waiting for my next year's birthday so that I can launch a project to go with it. I shall like this kind of celebration. So please, I would like to invite our special guests while the dinners and the desserts are being served, so that everyone, before we leave this place, we can have a piece of cake. So permit me to start by inviting our permanent secretary. So we have been told to ask. So I'm on an asking spree. I would invite our Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, to the cake stand. I would also like to invite our board member of the NNPC, Mr. Henry Obi. Please clap for them. And there's somebody who has been sitting here and has been hiding. Before I call the women to join the men, this person has been hiding. Engineer Dixon Okote, please come and join them. They say it's for captains of industry representing the private sector as well. And also our grand matron and our grand matron of WEOG and chairperson of the Belize Natural Energy Company, Miss Susan Morris, and of course the fabulous Dr. Cynthia Ekuwido. Don't turn your face, I'll still call you. And our national president. Oh, and we have Barrister Oyambo. How could I have missed you? Please, please, please come and join the cutting of the cake. And of course, our president, our very own Dr. Oladuni, the woman of the moment. I don't know what it is we should like to spell at this point. What would we like to spell? WEOG. Okay, the chairman has said we spell WEOG. So ladies and gentlemen, so permit me, for the first time in my life, I will see a man that will be facilitating the cutting of the cake. You see, when women do things, we always do things differently. I should like to be standing beside you while you do this. So I'll be in the picture. I want to be in this moment when you facilitate the cutting of the cake. So sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. I think it's a two-stage event. We have two cakes on the table and each one represents the significant milestone. First, we celebrate work at 5, and of course there wouldn't have been a work without Dr. Oho is also celebrating her birthday today. So coincidentally, both dates are the same day. So 5 and our age shall remain a secret. But let's start with, I think we should sing happy birthday, just to do the norm. So at the count of 3, could we all please, very quickly, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear William. Oh, happy birthday to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, DJ. I think just before we cut the cakes, let me say a few words. And a few words about the association itself, which is the reason why we're here. WEOG is 5. Of course, our prayer today is that we will one day, or some people one day will celebrate her at 100. And I remember I spent 22 22 years of my working life with ExxonMobil, and I remember that when we celebrated 125 years as a company, our president at the time, our chairman, executive chairman at the time, Lee Raymond, was asked the question, what's the secret behind building an institution that lasts this long? And he said one word. He said integrity. That's what makes the difference. And integrity is a passion for what you do and doing things right and sticking to the purpose of the firm, the reason why you were there in the first place. And I think on those three levers, if we stick to them, one day people will sit in a room that's much bigger than this to celebrate this institution of the 100. And on that day, they'll remember the founder. And I'm sure she'll be a golden plaque somewhere. She'll rest in heaven. People will celebrate all the good work she's done. So at this stage, I'll say we should put our hands on the knives. And as we spell women in energy, oil, and gas, we'll cut the first cake. So can I have a W in the audience?
W.
Can I have an E?
E.
Can I have an O?
O.
And can we have a G?
G.
And very quickly, we'll cut the second cake to mark our birthday of our founding president. And I think, And I think I'll just spell, she's Dr. Oladuniowo, so it's D-O-O. So at the count of D-O-O, she will cut the cake. So can I have a D in the audience?
D.
And an O?
O.
And another O.
O.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, we would like everyone to be a part of this moment. So if you were not in this first batch, please come and join us and cut the cake. First of all, I will do it in this order. All the gentlemen that are in the house, please come and join us. The he for she that you are in this room is because you are a he for she. Please come and take a picture with yes, Miss Susan and Dr. Oladuni. Please wait here. All the gentlemen, please come and join us. And all the new inductees, if you're here and you're wearing a WEOG sash, please come and join so that it's with the gentlemen. Yes, Miss Susan, please, you're still west, please. You know you light up everywhere you go. So, can we have some balance maybe on this side? Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. Yes. Gender balance, all the women in the WEOG sash, all the women, yes. Yes, gender balance.
What the hell going on here? Everybody look here?
Yeah.
Look here? One more, look here? Say one more. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Please, if you haven't taken all the other women, all women seated there, please come from Belize, from, sorry. All the women who are here to support us, please come. Miss Morris, please. Miss Suzanne. Yes.
reach like that.